Presiding Officer, we've heard from different parts of the chamber this afternoon a whole number of reasons why we're in the mess we're in today. But not from one person, who advocated leaving the European Union, have we heard any recognition that it was the lies told in that referendum that's led directly to the undermining of our politics today and the situation we are facing today. The political crisis that we are facing today is a direct consequence of the lies told in that referendum. And let me say this. We have moved in a little less than 3 years from being promised £350 million a week to the National Health Service to the threat of soldiers on the street and the imposition of martial law. It's not a great success, is it? And let me tell you this as well. When I hear these Conservative members telling me that I should respect the referendum, what I hear are other Conservative members who not so long ago were speaking in the House of Commons to undermine the devolution vote in 1997 within 2 months of the ballots closing. They didn't respect that referendum during the campaign. They didn't respect the referendum when the result was announced, and they've fought hard to stop the devolution process ever since. So don't you come to this place and lecture us on respect to the political process, because what you've done over 3 years has been to undermine the political structures and institutions of this country in a way that I cannot remember at any point in my lifetime. And what I think many of us, wherever we are sitting in this chamber today, will recognise and understand that the last few years have been the worst few years for politics that any of us can remember. And I will give way to it.
Yeah. The fundamental reason those few years have been so difficult is people like the member will not accept the result of the referendum. And the fact his constituency voted leave by any more than anyone else in Wales.
Sit down. Let me tell you, those votes were bought with snake oil, and they were bought with a fantasy. And let me tell you this. When I listen to the closest allies and friends of this country speaking with horror at what they're seeing, I take notice, and so should you. The words of Simon Coverley, the Irish Tennessee, this morning, should reverberate in this chamber. Somebody who has sought to work with the United Kingdom government, somebody who I remember from European Council meetings, who is more pro-UK than any other Irish politician I've met, is wringing his hands with horror at the situation created by the British Conservative Party and the UK government. And when I hear Neil Hamilton telling me that we should be looking forward to the great choice of food that we'll have on our empty shelves in a few weeks' time, what I hear are the leaders of retail business is telling us it's a lie and a fantasy. Perhaps you should listen to what you're being told. So I welcome the government's motion today. I welcome the government's motion, and I welcome the commitment of the Welsh Government to a second referendum, and I welcome the commitment of the Welsh Government to a vote which is based on a premise and a prospectus that we will all understand. I hope that referendum will be a straight choice between the deal that Mrs May has negotiated, and which is an appalling deal, so we hear from her own party. I don't understand how Darren can ask us to support a deal that he himself, through his criticism of a backstop, says himself that it's unworkable and that we need an alternative to it. And that is the deal that their government themselves are asking us to support.
I am grateful that you're giving way. I've supported the deal. I wanted to remain in the European Union, and I fought hard to achieve that and failed. But I don't think it was failure in the face of a barrage of lies, though there was a lot of slipping and sliding what people said. But I've accepted the result. I greatly regret the fact that if every Conservative had voted for that deal 2 weeks ago, it would have passed by one vote. And I greatly regret the fact that an awful lot of members of the Labour Party know that the backstop could have gone through if enough of them had supported the deal as well, and then we wouldn't be in this current position.
Look, I'm not going to, for one moment, defend the position taken by the Labour Party in Westminster. The vote on Monday on the immigration bill was an absolute shambles. It was a disgrace. The Labour Party should approach this on the basis of our values and our principles, and not on the basis of expediency. And there's been far too much of that from our front bench in London, and I regret that as well. And I've been very, very clear about that. So let's ensure that we move forward now to a vote, that we're able to suspend Article 50 to enable the position to be clarified, that we're able then to have a debate which is based on facts and understanding and based on an option to remain in the European Union and to remain a leading part of one of the most powerful international institutions in the world. Far better that than to shrink back into some imperial fantasy about the past. I want to see a future where we can all participate in European decision-making and where we can all look forward to a future that our children will be proud of and not ashamed because we turned our backs when the going got tough.